Alright everybody, today we are going to be changing the speakers on a 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland. It is a WK2, which is the 4th generation Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's going to be from 2011 until current, which is now 2018. So I can say that's 2011 to 2018 model Jeep Grand Cherokee. Today we have some 6x9 speakers with the tweeters as well. Today we bought the ISS 690 focal speakers, focal, I don't know, but we don't need too many tools for today's project. Here we've got the 7mm socket wrench, we've got a 10mm socket wrench, we have a Phillips head drill, a couple of pry tools, and my trusty SOG multi-tool. I'm going to be crimping these. We've already done the passenger side door, and so I have the original Jeep Grand Cherokee speakers, the 6x9, as well as the tweeter here. And then I have the new focal 6x9s with the tweeters as well. Okay, so we're going to take the door panel off. That's the first step. We've got a few things we need to do. First thing is inside the door handle here, there is a plastic cover that we need to remove. If you have one of those metal hooks that are great for removing plastic clips, it'll work. This works as well. I also use my pocket knife in the past. There we go. Inside there we have a 7mm bolt. We're going to move over here, and we've got the door handle. Behind the door handle is a plastic cover piece. Behind the plastic cover piece is a 10mm bolt and a Phillips head screw. Here. Yeah. There we go, that pops right off. Got a Phillips head screw and a 10mm bolt. The third thing we need to get off is this window and door lock control. Anything in there to pry, I'd recommend using something plastic so it's not sharp and you end up cutting your nice leather trim. This comes off pretty easily, and we're going to have a wiring harness we need to remove. Red plastic release, you flip it up and then it should pull right out. Oh, we press it back, pull it right out. Store this for later. Keep this in a safe spot. Should come right out. Doesn't need to be safe. We keep this in a safe spot. Keep it in the track right down there. Next thing I'm moving to is the 10mm bolt inside here. The third and final bolt is the Phillips head inside here. Keeping them all safe. Okay, the last thing we've got now is to pull off the entire door panel. Okay, I shoved that guy in there. Really anything will work. If you have a large flathead screwdriver, you can get it in there. You're not really going to damage anything, you know, being wearing the paint, and it's wide enough to not damage anything. Those tops. Grab the door panel, pull it out from the bottom. Up. Make sure all the clips are off. It's all going to be quite natural as you pull it. If you feel like you really have to pull something hard, it's something you should work on a little area. You should do some extra love too, because it may be loud and sound damaging, but it's not everything comes off. It's right here because I have this. So be wary of the door handle. The door handle sits inside here and has to come off. It kind of popped off for me a little unexpected. You have a harness here. This powers the little lighting that's inside there. Unhook that. Now this is your Jeep Grand Cherokee door panel. So we're going to be replacing a 6x9 speaker and the little tweeter up here. And we can start by working on the tweeter. The tweeter requires this plastic trim piece to not entirely come off, but come off enough that we can work on it. If we take a look down here in the corner, we have a plastic clip. It's going to just pull from both sides. I'm going to put some even pressure. It comes right out. Now, as I'm going to shove my fingers behind the plastic here, and this piece, if you look here, we have a plastic clip that's clipped on the sheet metal. So you want to push past the sheet metal, and so the plastic clip isn't hooked onto it. And as you push on the sheet metal, you pull down, and now my hand will just slide up. Give me enough working space. Inside here, if you look, this is a plastic clip that I didn't have to remove last time. I'm not going to do this time. Okay, so here we have the stock tweeter. Here's the wiring harness clip. That is something here that you could remove. I didn't have to mess around with that last time. What I did was I took these plastic clips, I bent them so that they weren't holding the tweeter in. And it should pop right out. Tweeter. We can set that aside. We're not going to need it. We're replacing this, so we need to remove this entire tweeter housing. It's quite simple. I use my pocket knife here to push these plastic clips. What's going to happen is this housing is going to push out from the back out the front, and so there are plastic clips that stop it from doing that and holding it in place. And so if I can get all those pushed forward, there we go, there's the start. Let's see how I've gotten 2 of what I believe are 3 of the clips. Oh, there we go. Now I've got to find the 3rd one, which is right inside here. Now it should push straight out. Here we go. Plastic may look, so I damaged this one. I would have liked not to do that, but now we've got to modify this a little bit. A tweeter housing, the tweeter comes in when you buy it. Now there's a small area for you to get something in there, a pocket knife or a screwdriver. And so once you create a little bit of space, it's quite easy to force it around. Pull the plastic housing off enough to where you can pull that off. We're not going to. This tweeter is going to go inside here, but as we can see, it doesn't quite fit. Now we have to do slight modifications with this project. This is relatively simple modification. It's quite small. What I did was take my pocket knife and I shaved enough of this plastic tweeter housing . Know if this is, so after a few tries, it looks like I've got enough. I'm gonna clean it up now a little bit. I'm not gonna try to get any deeper. I'm just cleaning up the rough edges. I do believe I have enough. If I do too much, it's gonna be loose, and we're gonna have to end up gluing it. I'd like to avoid that, if at all possible. So with some pressure, it's gonna go right in. Now that looks pretty good. It's going to be hard to spin. If you don't take too much off, it's going to be tight enough where you can't spin it from the front, which is a good thing. Our next step is going to be adding the crossover. Okay, so here we have the crossover. They're only going to fit in one way. We do have a positive and a negative. The negative on the tweeter is going to be a female. I'm sorry, a male. The negative of the tweeter is going to be a male part that you push on the female. The positive is going to of the tweeter is going to be a female end. You're going to push the male end on. Push back that that rubber housing. Here we go. I'm even gonna take my pliers and since this isn't going to need to be removed anytime soon, I'm gonna put a little pressure on it. This way it's more similar to a crimp. That way it should hold on. This is not necessary, but doing it anyways. Make sure we cover everything we can with the rubber housing. Okay, so next is going. You recording? Mm-hmm. Okay, so next is going to be attaching the crossover that is directly attached to the tweeter. You have to attach it to the stock wiring. Now, with the stock wiring, we need to make sure that we have the correct positive and the correct negative. What I'm going to be using today is butt splices that I'm going to... So the positive is the gray and the orange, the negative is the gray and the yellow. I know this by looking online at a wiring diagram. Sure, when you crimp anything, do a pull test on both sides. If it can work its way out, it will. So a quick pull test should tell you that it should last pretty good. So we've wired up the tweeter. Everything's good on the tweeter. The hardest part of getting this back on would be two parts. First is going to be this plastic piece up top here. We have a small lip that we need to make sure that we get inside. That gave me some trouble. So you want to keep some pressure towards the outside as you push it on. And once you get this end in, it should naturally go for it. But here I made a little mistake and I bent the plastic. There we go. Time to bend it out, now it's gone. Next thing to be aware of is obviously this harness. This harness needs to plug into the door panel here, so we're going to keep that down. I found that if I get the tweeter housing and the plastic trim all in, I was able to shove all this wiring with the crossover up inside. So this clip, so now as far as the trim goes, it's all in good shape. And there's plenty of room up inside here to take all this wiring. Try to be gentle, but as long as it gets up there, it should be alright. Looks like the trim's coming off alright. Right there. Yeah, I think it does look like it's off. Everything feels in place. To start bit, we'll take these factory bolts right off. I like to take all three on the bottom off and then put those aside so I got nothing in my hands. Put some pressure on the speaker itself so it doesn't fall. It should pull right out. It's gonna want to be pried out. It's lived here for a few years. Really not too difficult. This clip come right off. And there we go, we've got the stuff. We can attach this right to the woofer. Again, I'm going to crimp these. Next thing we're going to worry about is this stock piece here. We're going to have to plug this in here and strip this back and use our crimp-on connection. And when I do that, you see here this gasket works its way behind itself, so I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to get these bottom ones seated. Now this bottom one's seated pretty well. As you can see, it's proud of the speaker almost all the way around. That, you know, got a good seal by the gasket, as opposed to up top, where it has fallen inside. There we go, just a little bit of pressure will keep it exactly where I want it to be. Now it's not 100% even all the way around, however, it being proud in each area shows that when I cinch it down, everything's going to get a good seal. It doesn't have to be extremely tight. You just want to make sure everything's seated. Because you are screwing into plastic, one or two many turns will over tighten it and strip the plastic. Alright, so far so good. We've installed both speakers, and now goes reinstalling the door panel.